Hello, Zach. It's Grandpa here again. And as you can see with my glasses, because I'm looking at the computer, it's shining into my glasses, so you can't really see my eyes. So if I take my glasses off, then it goes away, but then I can't see anything. So, Zach, where are you? Are you there? Are you there, Zach? Zach, come back. Oh, yes, right. There you are. There you are, Zach. Yes. Now, the story I've got for you this time is called The Way Back Home, and it's about a little boy that goes to the moon. So I hope you enjoy this story, Zach, by Oliver Jeffrey. Once upon a time there was a little boy, and this little boy was called Zach, the same as you, Zach. And you can see him here, he's bringing his boat out from the sea, and above him are the stars, and there's also planets up there, and one of the planets is called Mars. One day, as he was putting his things back in the cupboard, he found an aeroplane. He didn't remember leaving the aeroplane in the cupboard, but he thought he'd take it out right away. So he put on his jacket, and then his hat, and then his goggles, and he fastened up his jacket, and he put his gloves on, and put his other gloves on, and he was ready to go. He said, right, let's go in this aeroplane. So the plane lifted off the ground and up into the sky, and it went higher and higher and higher until you couldn't see the plane except for a little dot in the sky. And then something terrible happened. The plane started to splutter. Puck, 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 puck. And there was smoke coming out of the back. And it was going in. So Zach said, oh dear, this plane has run out of petrol. What shall I do? And then he looked out and he could see the moon in the sky. And he said, right, I'm going to land the plane on the moon. So he landed the plane, but now he was stuck on the moon. So what was he going to do? He was all alone and afraid, and soon his torch began to go out, and everything was dark, and all he could see was the stars and the planets. But up in space, someone else was in trouble too. His engine had broken down in the spaceship. And so he saw the moon and drove the spaceship towards the moon and landed on the moon with a bump. And there was smoke coming out of his spaceship as well. So the boy, Zach, and out came a Martian, someone from Mars, and he was called Martin. They could hear noises in the dark, and they just wondered what was going on. But then, when their eyes got used to the light, they both realized they'd met someone else in trouble. So they weren't alone anymore. So Zach said, hello, I'm Zach, and I'm from the Earth. And the Martian said, hello, I'm Martin, and I come from the planet Mars. The boy showed Martin his empty petrol tank, and the Martian showed Zach his broken engine. And then they thought of ways to fix their machines. And they said, well, will we do this, or will we do that? Or will we do, maybe we could try this. And then they got a bit of paper and they drew out a plan. And Mark said, well, let's do that. And Zach said, yeah, and then you can take off and get home. So they said, right, that's what we'll do. So Zach jumped down to earth to get the things that he would need. And he went in a parachute that he had in the plane. He went down and down and down and splash into the sea. And then he swam to home because he's a very good swimmer. So he was in the house and watching the television, and suddenly, oh dear, he remembered what he should be doing. And he rushed off to the cupboard to get what he needed. And he had a list of the things that he needed, like a spanner and a hammer and a toolbox and petrol. So he put them all in his rucksack, and he went outside and he shouted towards the moon, but he couldn't be heard. So he said, right, I'm going to have to climb up a mountain. So he climbed up and up and up and up till he was at the top of the mountain. And on the other mountain, there was a reindeer looking at him thinking, what is going on here? And then a rope was lowered down. And Zach began to climb, and Martin the Martian began to pull. And so soon, Zach was back on the moon. So Zach got under the spaceship and he fixed it with his spanner and his hammer. And Martin the Martian filled Zach's petrol tank. And then they said goodbye to each other. They said, we'll have to go home, but thank you very much for your help, they both said to each other. And then they thought, well, I wonder if we'll meet again. So after a long night, they were both finally off the moon. He was in his plane, and so was the Martian. So Zach landed on Earth. And the next day, the doorbell rang, and he was a man with a delivery. And Zach said, I wonder what this is. So he opened the box, and out came a telephone. And he had to fix it. There was instructions there, and he had to make it go. And then, once he got it going, it went ding, 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 ding. And there was a voice at the other end saying, hello, hello, is that Zach? This is Martin the Martian here. And they could look at each other on the phone and they could talk to each other. And that's how they kept in touch. And that's the end of the story.